Good morning, friends. How are you today? Nice to see you all. Good morning. Or good afternoon, wherever you are. Or good evening if you're in the other hemisphere. So today, I am so excited. We're going to let the audience build a bit. And then I'm going to talk about what it means to love unconditionally. And there's so much more to this than meets the eye. It's about living in a state of profound gratitude. It's about managing yourself. It's about all sorts of different things. So we'll just sit tight for a moment as the audience begins to build, and then we will get going from there, okay? So it's a beautiful day here in Florida, and all is well. My squirrel friend is hanging out in his little box. We had a lovely walk around the yard a bit ago. So grab your journal, by the way. Hey, Paula, it's so nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. So I'm going to get started in about 1.5 minutes. And that will be good. Paula, it's lovely weather today. I think you probably have had some storms in your area, as have we, and just glad that the heat is not quite as bad as it could be. So here we are. By the way, I'm starting a series of retreats, Paula, and they'll be held in St. Petersburg, but it's easy to get there, and we'll be doing some different things around creativity, self-expression, finding your soul. So I'll invite you to those. Watch on Facebook as the messages pop forward, okay? So it's all beautiful and perfect. All beautiful and perfect. By the way, I've got to tell you a funny thing, Paula. I was mowing the yard a couple of days ago, and there was a small little squirrel, baby squirrel, stuck up in a tree, hanging on to a piece of the bark that had not been trimmed off the tree. And so I had a little conversation with him. How are you doing today, buddy? What's going on? And he kind of looked at me, and then he got himself down from the tree and made his way to the ground. And I was kind of kneeling in the grass, and all of a sudden, the little beautiful creature walked right over and sat on my foot and looked up at me. And so I extended my hand, and he climbed right onto my hand. And over the last 2 days, 3 days, hey, Marilyn Sanders, how are you? So nice to see you. So over the last 3 days, he's had a lovely little home environment. I've been feeding him collard green broth, and I have been nurturing him back to health, and he's a beautiful little soul. So the funny part is he has free reign to come and go, and he's chosen to live with us. So I now have a pet baby squirrel. It's all fantastic. So okay, we're going to get started, you guys. Good morning, good afternoon. I'm so excited to be with you. Hi, Cindy, so nice to see you. Hi, David, how are you, my friend? And we're going to journey together on what it means to live an unconditionally loving relationship. And over the next 14 days, here's how this is going to work. I'm going to do a video every day for the next 14 days, and I'm going to share with you some profound insights that I've discovered over the last 7 or 8 years. This is all stuff I've been writing and reading and thinking and praying and singing about, and I think it's some really good content. But above all, what my hope is that we can journey together, and that if there is a need for encouragement or support or a question that you have, that this is an interactive process. So everyone get your fingers ready to type a question or a thought, and I'll respond to you as we're going along. By the way, too, I'm going to be doing the talk or this interaction for about 30 minutes each day, and then it will be posted on Facebook. So if you don't have the opportunity to watch right now, you can watch later, and I'd encourage you to get your journal, get your pen, and really dig into the concepts about what it means to be loving unconditionally. By the way, one other disclaimer. I'm wearing these sunglasses not because I'm a douchebag, but because I can't see without them. And it's incredibly bright sitting here on the patio. So, with that being said, what does it mean to feel fully loved? Now, I want you to get yourself around this concept, because if you look at any self-help chapter, any book on the shelves in any Barnes and Noble or wherever we buy books, Amazon or Kindle or Twitter, I don't even know where we get books these days. But if you look everywhere, you see information about love. It's all predicated on the idea that it is an attainable concept, that we can feel fully loved, that we can extend full love. And I think that's all well and good that we talk about that stuff, but I also think it's a misnomer. I think the idea that to feel fully loved is impossible because we're not ever intended to know it fully. Now, here's why I believe this, okay? If you think about our purpose on the face of this planet, if you really consider the idea that we come here for whatever your spiritual orientation, here's the way I look at this. We journey to this planet, we come to this soul essence, we arrive, however, whatever, it does not matter to me. But we have a purpose of this journey, and the purpose of the journey is to discover unconditional love, to discover our souls, to step and evolve and move more fully into our evolutionary process of becoming the most beautiful, soulful creatures that we can possibly be. So feeling fully loved is not the end goal. Learning how to love is the end goal. That is the journey. And so I want you to make note right now that your goal in life, my goal in life, is to discover love and to connect deeply to the source divine, to connect deeply to the essence of love, the cosmic connection, God, the universe, the master creator, however you frame it, okay? Our journey is to know that connection more deeply, and more importantly, to see that connection within yourself, to know that you're a visible expression of an invisible God, to know that you are a visible expression of creation that transcends the thoughts and ideas of the world, and to know that you are a soul in a skin body. That's it. You're a soul in a skin body. So our journey to this planet is to discover love and to connect deeply, hi Jeffrey, to connect deeply to the source divine. So instead of having a desire to feel fully loved, you have a desire, you live in the space where you harness the desire to experience and to share and to learn and to experience divine love. Divine love that comes from something bigger and greater than you. What if fully loved was not the destination of achievement? It's not about where we're going to end up. Instead, fully loved is crafting a life on the concepts of faith in the following. Faith in the following. So throw this around for you just a bit. And I really would like for you to think about these concepts, and I'd like you to live into them. Now, before I get started, I want you to do something with me. I want you to take a big, deep breath in, and I want you to hold it for 7 seconds. Big, deep breath in. Hold it. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and expel it on a 4, 3, 2, 1. Big deep breath in. Hold it for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Expel it. 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, as you go through your day, I want you to practice that technique. It's called the 747 technique. All right. So the concept of living fully is crafting a life of faith, a life of faith, believing in the unseen, knowing that there's something bigger and greater than you at work, understanding that you are part of a much more profound cosmic connection, that you are created to the universal divine, and that you are an expression of the universal divine. So try this on for size. I am love. I am love. I am fully seen, and I fully see others. I am not a flawed human being. I am an evolving human being that is divinely perfect. I am love. I am fully seen, and I fully see others. I am not a flawed human being. Now get your noggin around that one, because you've been sold a bill of goods that you are flawed, and you're not. You're beautiful, you're perfect, and you're divine. And that you're evolving into becoming more divinely perfect. Here's the second element of faith I want you to consider. I am love, and I am fully aware that my past has taught me lessons about how to love fully, but I've allowed fear to drive my decisions. These episodes of fear should not be looked at as shameful, but lessons on my journey. The past is irrelevant when you liberate yourself from a narrative of shame. Your past has no meaning. And if you want to step into unconditional love, it's embracing this mighty step, this powerful step of liberation from your past. The greatest thinkers that we have seen through time tell us that our past is simply where we've been, yet people spend a preponderance of time living there. And if you're living in your past, beating the shit out of yourself, telling yourself stories of oppression and suffering and sorrow and sadness, you cannot live fully in the present moment. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. And on top of that, if you're living in your future, thinking about what you should do and could do and how you must do it, you're not living in the present moment. And so becoming a loving, unconditional person is recognizing that your past, in the context of your own relationship with yourself and in the context of your relationship with others, is irrelevant. It has no meaning. It's gone. It's done. So why the hell are you hanging on to it? Try this one on for size. I am love, and I am fully present with all others in my life. This includes animals, plants, all of nature, and most importantly, I am present to myself. The most loving act that you can do toward the world, toward others, the most unconditional act of love is to hold space and be present with yourself in the moment. I am love, and I am keenly aware of all of my beliefs. I am fully conscious to all of my contributions for myself and others, the situations and the outcomes. I am keenly aware of my beliefs, because you know where your beliefs come from. They come from a story that you've learned about how you're supposed to live in the world. And they've also been taught to you by people who taught you through their wounds. The stories that you hold are the stories of woundedness from the people that have influenced you. I'll give you an example. If you had a highly controlling mother, you learned that the world was unsafe. And so you adopted elements of control in your own life. And that control manifests itself, and it limits your ability to live in the moment, in the present, in the flow, in the beauty of the cosmic creation. Consider this concept. I am fully conscious to all my judgments of others, myself, and all situations. How are you judging yourself? And if you really want to get at that, think about how you judge the world, how you judge politics, how you judge your environment, how you judge other people. Judgment everywhere you turn around. Because guess what, my friends? You are the baseline. Hi, Shelby. You are the baseline for judgment. So you cannot judge someone else without judging yourself first. I want you to consider this concept. I am fully conscious to all of my expectations that I hold for myself and others. In all circumstances, your expectations limit your ability to step fully into unconditional love. Your expectations that you have to be or act or do certain things, the expectation that the world is supposed to unfold a certain way, the expectation that other people are supposed to show up in a certain frame of reference, the expectation about you in the context of creation. Being fully aware of these things that I've just rattled off for you, that you must be fully present. Your past cannot play a role in your life if you want to be unconditionally loving. That you must be keenly aware of all of your beliefs, good, bad, and indifferent. To know that you are fully conscious to all of your conditions, your judgments, and your expectations. And when you become fully aware of those things, you choose to manage and eliminate all of them. You choose to step into a place where you say, I am here now. I am present now. I am holding space now. I am aware of my essence now. I am managing my energy now. And here's the key. If you can't get out of bed with a beautiful, brilliant attitude, hi Lucy. If you can't get out of bed with a sense of hopefulness and joy and an intention to make the world beautiful and to live fully into your creation, then you're not living in love. You're living in pain and suffering. So stay in bed until you can get out with the right heart. If you're wound up in the world thinking about someone did something to you or made you feel a certain way, or the situation is difficult, or whatever it may be, however you're evaluating your outside world, that's nothing more than a judgment about what it's supposed to be like. What if you took a big 747 breath and breathed life into you and expelled sorrow from you? I want you to consider standing firmly in the present, knowing that your past is gone and that it is no reference point, and that your opportunity is to create moments right now, layered upon other moments of beauty and bliss and perfection and joy and growth and evolution. Do you know, here's an interesting fact. Humans are the only species in the entire universe that denies our own evolution. We keep going back, looking at our life, trying to figure out what we should have done differently or better. We deny our evolution by not realizing that we're divinely inspired. We deny our evolution by not recognizing that we have sacred and divine gifts that must be serving other people. We deny our evolution when we think we're driving the bus and there's not something much bigger and greater at play. And there is something so much more profound, so much bigger, so much greater. So, my friends, I want you to consider this concept, and I want you to write it down. I am a receiver and transmitter of divine love. I am a receiver and transmitter of divine love. And then I want you to write another sentence. I am divine love. I am love. I stand in unconditionality. Because when you can liberate the conditions and judgments and expectations that you have, you are one step closer to living in unconditionality. They're part and parcel. They go hand in hand. They go right together. Now, frankly, you all, this is the spiritual path. Now, let me go out on a rant for a moment, because we've seen this evolution of spirituality in every corner that we watch. On the internet, on TV, in the books that we're reading, we're seeing an emergence of spirituality, because people are realizing that living in your ego, living in your defenses, living in your fears, living in your uncertainty, living in your conditions, judgments, and expectations no longer works. And I believe that our souls are at war right now with our ego being. And so we're being invited to a spiritual path. And that spiritual path is what I'm laying out for you. To recognize that you are an expression of love. To know that you are an extension of love and connected to everyone and everything. So how do we do this? How do we really step in? How do you attract the love of your life and remove all anger and frustration from your partnership in your life? Well, guess what? Over the next 14 days, I'm going to be talking about that. How do you establish unconditional lines of communication that build trust? Not rules of communication, lines of communication. Hello, Jessica. Nice to see you. How do you stop feeling anxious or disappointed in your relationships? Well, guess what, my friends? Your anxiety and your disillusionment or disappointment in your relationships is created in your own mind, and it's predicated on a condition, a judgment, or an expectation that you're holding. Strip them away. Hi, Lauren. So lovely to be with you this morning. Strip those conditions away. Strip those attachments away. Strip those judgments and those expectations and live in the now. Live in the present. Over the next 14 days, we're going to talk about how to create joyful and peaceful moments of connection with yourself and with your lover, your spouse, your partner, your friends. It's about living in expectancy, not expectation. Let me tell you what that means. I love that concept. Expectancy is living in a space where you say to yourself, I know that great things are flowing to me and through me. I am safe, secure, happy, and loved, and every interaction that I have with everyone along the path is divinely appointed, and it will work out beautifully. It's stepping out of judgment. It's stepping into conscious awareness, creative exploration, and curiosity. We're going to learn about how to step out of your painful memories of your past. By the way, you know, the work that I do is really interesting because it's all about liberating people from the stories of their past and helping them connect the dots and see how their pasts are really messing up their present reality. And if I had to say, most everyone I know is so deeply rooted in the stories of their past about what life should be or how you're supposed to act. And my invitation is to break the rules from your past because it's not serving yourself. It's not serving you. I believe that if you go on this journey with me, you're going to learn how to mutually journey together with that person that you've chosen, whether that person is a soulmate or a twin flame. By the way, I'm going to be talking about some of that stuff as well. And if those are concepts you don't understand, stay with me and I'm going to show you what that really means on this journey of inspiration, this journey of creation, this journey of exploration, this journey of curiosity. We're going to learn that there are no roles in our relationships. You know, unconditional relationships do not have roles because a role connotes a certain dynamic of power. You cannot have a power dynamic in an unconditional relationship. So there are no roles except partner, except journey mate, except soul connection. There are no roles. Now, I've beaten the hound out of the idea, but we cannot, and we're going to really look at how do you liberate your conditions and judgments and expectations about the outside world, because when you can look at what you hold for the outside world and for others, you then can see the mirror reflection of what you hold for yourself. And frankly, this is about liberation into a profoundly soulful place. It's about liberation. It's about liberation from the wounds of oppression that you've chosen to believe. And that's where unconditional love lies. Liberation from those stories of oppression. Unconditionally loving relationships are based on total and profound radical honesty. None of this mamby-pamby bullshit, none of this halfway, none of these half-truths. It is sheer, honest, bold, authentic honesty. And I want you to do an assessment of yourself right now. Where are you being dishonest with others or dishonest with yourself? Because it's only going to work for so long. And your dishonesty is nothing more than a mask for your ego. We're going to talk about communicating directly and what that means, how to say the most loving things and the most powerful things in the most loving way. I'm going to talk about sharing sexual energy because, you know, the unconditionally loving partnership, now, of course, we hold people in unconditional love as friends and family members and people we interact with. But if you also have an intimate, connected relationship with a soulmate or a twin flame, then sexual energy is a part of that. It's a sharing of energy. And, you know, if you really think about us as cosmic energetic beings anyway, which can be ferreted out in quantum physics and a number of other different perspectives, if we're just balls of energy and we're all vibrating at different levels, some of us have a higher energy profile, some have a lower energy profile. And as a result, when you put sex in the mix, sometimes the sex can knock your socks off, and sometimes the sex is dirty or painful. Hello, Austin. You are such a beautiful soul. I'm so glad you're here. We're going to talk about what it means to Step fully out of your past, and I will tell you what, I'll go to the mat with you if you think your past has any value. The only thing your past has value for is to show you the evolution you've been on. And if you want to journey on that process, I want you to holler at me, because I can show you how to crack your past and move fully out of it. You know, if I lived in my past, I would be a miserable, egomaniacal asshole. But when I liberated my past, I was able to step into a more loving place with myself and realize that that's not who I am. In fact, I'm not even the same dude that I was just 30 minutes ago. I'm not the same guy that I was yesterday. Repeat after me. I'm getting better and better every day in every way. I'm getting better and better every day in every way. In the context of an unconditional relationship, there's also the standard that there is no out, there is only work it out. Far too often we pull the plug on relationships, we ghost people, we stop talking, we become passive aggressive. And guess what? That's just your small little ego screaming at you. So put your big girl or big boy pants on and embrace your soul fully. Because if you embrace your soul fully, we don't throw people by the wayside. Now let me be clear. Sometimes our paths are divergent and we must separate for a season. But that does not mean that we toss people aside. And unconditional love is developing the ability to hold a space, hold a container for other people to grow and to heal and to expose their wounds. It's about never assigning meaning to what someone else does, because it's never about you, it's about them. It's about their journey. And this journey of unconditional love is about looking fully in a mirror and seeing something so divinely and beautifully inspired that you celebrate it. That you celebrate that divine inspiration of creation in every plant you look at, and every tree that you stand under, and every animal that walks in front of you. And so today, if you're struggling with unconditional love, I want you to go out into your garden or go to the park. If you go to the park, I want you to find a bunch of kids and watch them play, because they understand unconditional love a whole lot better than adults do. We fucked it up all along the way with all our conditions, judgments, and expectations. And if you're really struggling, go walk in your garden or crawl in the dirt and look at the minutia, look at the intricacies, the small things that you take for granted every day. Take a walk and smell the jasmine in the air. Ground yourself by becoming barefoot and feeling the pulse of the earth's energy. Stand in gratitude for the journey that you're on. Now let me tie a bow around this, and I really hope that you all will endure, engage, explore this journey with me about unconditional love. And this first session today, I've given you a lot of stuff to think about, but I also know that most people only heard about 5% of it. So we're going to dissect it, and we're going to break it apart, and we're going to explore it, and we're going to crack your soul open. And I'm going to give you questions to journal and things to think about. And if you want to chat, I invite you to pick up the phone. Send me a message and I'll make space and time for you. Because my goal in life is to live in service. Share the gifts that I have, the awarenesses that I have, and the journey that I'm on with other soulful people. So you have that commitment. If you want the handouts, go ahead and download them. They were in the event page link, and that's about 8 or 10 or 12 pages of really profound information that I've written over the last 7 or 8 years. And I can promise you, if you will dig in, get your cup of coffee, your journal, your pen, and be willing to take a deep, hard look at who you are, you will become more loving, because you will realize that you already are. You already are. So I want to end with a final story that expresses that sense of unconditional wonder and unconditional love that children have. So many of you don't know this, but I have a 22-year-old son, strapping young man, that I haven't seen since 2005. And that's a long story, but it's in my past and I choose to not live there. But when Austin was 4, Austin and I were at the fair one day. We went to the Polk County Fair, I believe. And we were sitting in the rodeo area waiting for somebody to do some type of demonstration with wrestling a cow or milking a goat, or who the hell knows, I don't know. We were just having a good time, and I remember he was about 4 years old. And we were sitting there, and he looked up at me and he said, "Hey Daddy, can I go down and play with that little boy?" There was a young boy about his age, maybe a bit younger, a bit older, about 4 rows down on the bleachers. I said, "You bet, Austin, and just stay within about a 5-mile radius." He had a tendency to run, so I always had my eyeball on him. I said, "Just stay close enough so that I can see you, my little friend." And so I watched him, and he walked down, and Austin has a beautiful energy, and I can't wait to the day that I can see it as an adult in him. And as he walked down, he sat right next to this little boy, and he smiled at him, and he looked at him, and he said something. I don't know what he said. And the little boy didn't respond. And so Austin sat there, and he had a moment of crisis because he didn't know what to do. He was being invited to a place of learning unconditional love even more powerfully. And so he marched his way back up to me, and he sat down, and he said, "Daddy, that little boy wouldn't talk to me." And I said, "Austin, why do you think that is?" And he said, "I don't know. Is there something wrong with me?" I said, "Oh, my sweet child, there's nothing wrong with you." I said, "Austin, I think let's try a little experiment." And I had a little bag of popcorn. I said, "Take this bag of popcorn down, sit right back down beside him, and simply put it in front of him." He said, "Okay." I said, "Remember, sharing's a good thing. Sharing our heart is a good thing." And so I watched him, and he, of course, probably spilled half the popcorn on the way down, but that didn't matter. And he sat down by this little boy. The little boy looked at him, and then Austin just smiled, and he put the bag of popcorn right in front of this young boy. The little boy took a couple of pieces out and ate them, and then he smiled at Austin, and they went off to play. Now here's the beauty of this. Later that afternoon, or actually just a couple minutes after all this, the boys went and were playing, and so I walked down and was talking to this little boy's parents, and I said, "You have a beautiful son, and tell me about him, and how old is he, and all of this." And they said, "You know, your son really did something powerful today." I said, "Well, what was that?" They said, "Well, Brandon is deaf, and no one ever knows how to react to him. It's in the act." Whoa. It's in the act of service. It's in the act of expression. It's in the act of acceptance and no judgment and no criticism and no expectation. It's making that bridge from one heart to the other. That, my friends, is unconditional love. So join me on this journey, please. And if there's somebody that you think needs to hear a message of hope, I'm going to throw some shit down. And if you want to, upsizeyoursoul.com. Visit it. I'll send you some things. I'm not going to spam you. And if you feel like something I've said today is resonating with you, then let's connect. And let's do something beautiful together. I wish each one of you a beautiful and perfect, divinely inspired, creative, explosive, grounded day. And know that there is a dude in Florida that's sending you powerful, beautiful, loving energy. Be well, friends, and thanks so much for joining me. Tomorrow, noon. See you later.